Today, we're jumping into the very last book of the Hebrew prophets, Malachi. But we're not just going to read it, we're going to look at it through a really unique lens, as a kind of divine relationship audit. Seriously, this isn't just a prophecy, it's a full-on confrontation, a formal review of a sacred agreement. And man, does it kick off with a bang. I mean, right from the get-go, the tension is just wow. God, referred to here by the Hebrew name Hashem, opens with this declaration of love, which is supposed to be the entire foundation of the relationship. But the response? It's not thank you. It's pure skepticism. How did you love us? It's like they're asking for the receipts, demanding proof. And that single question, it launches the entire audit we're about to walk through. So here's the game plan for how this divine audit unfolds. We'll start where they did, with that fundamental question of love. Then we'll get into the main accusation, what the prophet calls a crisis of honor. After that, we'll look at the specific evidence, the contempt at the altar, and see the consequences in the king's command. And finally, we'll see if there's a way back, a path to restoring the covenant. Okay, first things first, before we can even begin to understand what went wrong, we have to grapple with God's opening statement. The whole case hinges on this one premise: I loved you. So when the people challenge that, how does God even begin to answer? So how does God prove his love? Well, it's fascinating. He doesn't point to some recent miracle. Nope. He goes all the way back to the very beginning, to the choice between two brothers, Jacob and Esau. And the great medieval commentator Rashi points out, God's love for Jacob was shown by giving him that desirable land. But Esau, the firstborn, who should have gotten the best portion, he was pushed aside. This completely flipped the natural order of things on its head. This wasn't just some random affection. It was a deliberate, preferential, foundational choice. That is the answer to, how did you love us? So the foundation of the relationship is set. It's built on a historic, preferential love. But there's a huge problem. Something is seriously broken. And Malachi frames this not as a lack of faith, but as a crisis of honor, a deep, profound lack of respect. And the indictment? It comes in the form of these piercing, rhetorical questions that are just designed to sting. The first question, it just hits you right in the gut, because it's so universal. A son is supposed to honor a father, right? It's a relationship built on love and respect. So God is basically asking, okay, if you and I have a father-son relationship, then where's my honor? The silence is the accusation. And then, boom, right away, he hits them with the second role. And if I'm a master and you are my servants, where is the fear? Where is the awe and reverence that a master is owed? See, according to Rashi, the people are called both sons and servants, which means they're failing on every single level, in the close family relationship and in the formal hierarchical one. So who exactly is this audit for? Well, it's not just a blanket statement for all the people. The prophet is laser-focused on the spiritual leadership of the day. You, the kohanim, the priests. The very people whose entire job is to uphold God's honor are the ones being accused of disgracing his name. Okay, now we get to the evidence file, because God doesn't just make vague accusations. No, the prophet lays out concrete, tangible proof of the priest's contempt. And the crime scene, if you will, is the holy altar itself. Look at what they're bringing as sacrifices. It's the absolute rejects. Blind animals, lame ones, sick ones, even stolen animals. I mean, these aren't valuable offerings. This is the stuff you'd throw away. And this behavior shows you exactly what they're thinking, which the text says is, Hashem's table is contemptible. They see their most sacred duty as a chore, as something beneath them. And to really expose their hypocrisy, the prophet just throws it right back in their faces. He asks this razor-sharp question. Hey, try offering that pathetic gift to your human governor. You think he'd accept it? Of course not. He'd be insulted. And yet this is what you think is good enough for the king of the universe? The double standard is just staggering. Now check this out. Here's a fascinating little detail that shows you just how deep this offense goes. The text we have says the priests cause it pain. Referring to the weak animal they're dragging to the altar. But Rashi points out that this is one of the ancient tikkunei sofrim, or scribal corrections. The original text probably said, you cause me pain. And that one word change is huge. It transforms the sin from just being negligent to inflicting personal, divine anguish. Their contempt is a direct wound to God. So the evidence is in. The verdict is guilty. What happens now?
What are the consequences for failing this audit so spectacularly? Well, now the prophet lays out the king's command, the divine response to being treated with such profound dishonor.
And the consequences, they perfectly mirror the crimes. For bringing blemished offerings, God says, I will send the curse upon you. For dishonoring the covenant itself, I will curse your blessings, the very things they depend on, like grain and wine. And for their deception, the response is ultimate shame. I will scatter dung upon your faces. Instead of honor and reward, they get public disgrace. And the authority behind this judgment? It's absolute. God declares, for I am a great king. And here's the kicker, the powerful contrast. While his own priests treat him like he's nothing, his name is actually feared and respected among the nations. It's like he's saying, my greatness isn't dependent on you. But you know, an audit isn't just about punishment. The real goal is correction. This whole takedown isn't meant to completely destroy the priesthood. It's supposed to be a massive wake-up call. So now the prophecy shifts to lay out what the covenant was supposed to look like all along, the path back to honor. The prophet reminds them of the gold standard, the ideal set by their ancestor, Levi. That original covenant, it wasn't just about going through the motions. It was based on life and peace. The ideal priest was someone filled with a genuine fear and awe of God. He didn't just teach the rules. True Torah was in his mouth. He walked with God in peace and integrity, and this is key. His work actually had an impact. He brought many back from sin. This is the high bar they had fallen from, and it's the standard they have to get back to. So in the end, Malachi's audit was aimed squarely at the priests of his day, exposing that massive gap between their sacred job description and their actual contemptible actions. But the central question of the book, it just echoes right through to today. What does it really mean to honor the things we claim are most important to us? What does genuine respect for our highest values, in our work, in our families, in our communities, what does that actually look like in practice? Now, that's a question worth auditing.